I'm turning your mic off for a minute.
Okay.
It's the fact of that you get normally a show will set up cliffhanger episodes, and you're like, oh wow, that was amazing, and then the next episode is like, oh really? That's how you're resolving it? It's just typical. Where it's every time they've had a cliffhanger in series 2 of Arrow, it's been, oh my god, how are they going to fix that? And then they do something afterwards, which is like, okay, that was brilliant. I loved it. Again.
Yeah, you see, if you had a sonic screwdriver, every cliffhanger would be an moment.
He needs a sonic arrow. We haven't seen one yet, but that would be a good thing.
Well, he started doing trick arrows, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. He's all his trick
arrows, yeah. Well, they're having to do that now since he's made the decision in Series 2, which I'm not going to tell you what it is, but...
Yeah.
That's okay, I didn't want to know anyway.
Yeah, you can keep your arrow. Okay, right, so, okay, Andy, right, what else?
I mean, things that I was trying to think of other things that stood out, but just going to give a list of shows that I loved. I mean, we had the end of Fringe as well as Breaking Bad last year. Mm-hmm. I keep going to say this year, but it's last year. Which Stuart, I'm sure, will agree with me on Fringe as being one of his favourite shows as well.
Yep.
All right, okay. Hey, steady on, Stuart. We'll get to you.
And then also the other thing that I really, really love, 2 other shows that I've just absolutely loved them. Hannibal, which Fantastic. Is just so dark and like a film. It's not like a series. Mm-hmm. It's so really well put together. Such production on the screen, and the performances. Mads Mikkelsen is absolutely fantastic as Hannibal.
Totally agree.
And it's just...
Sorry, Andy, just on thinking about it, for one of the moments of 2013, has to be the final scene of the last episode when basically Hannibal and Will swap places.
Yeah, it's great. It's been a great show, and that's should be long before that's back, I think, as well.
February, back at the start of February.
Yeah. And the other show has been House of Cards, which was Netflix's premiere self-made television show, which is coming back on February 14th this year as well.
In 4K resolution.
Was it what, the first series or the second series?
No, the second series is going to be the first ever TV programme shot in 4K.
Oh, wow, okay. Really? That's the Kevin Spacey one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And it's absolutely fantastic. It's all drama. There's no action or anything in it. It's all drama and convoluting and manipulating people, and it's purely right down Kevin Spacey's alley. And he just completely shines in it.
Okay, excellent.
The other thing as well, I guess the last thing to mention is the fact of another show which did end, but really didn't end well, was Dexter.
Yes, Dexter's one of my big disappointments of the year.
It's literally got to the end, and I was, what was that?
Yeah.
He just sits there, waiting for something? Because, I would have minded seeing what it was, just we have no idea. Because it didn't have an ending, it just stopped.
Dexter was one of those things that, actually a lot like Doctor Who as well, where all the fans had better ideas of how the show should end than the scene that the writers themselves had. My brother's a big fan of Dexter, and I'm a big fan of Dexter, and we had talked so many times about what could happen and where it should go. And I personally think our ideas were better. It just was such a damp squid of an episode of a series, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it had been struggling for the last couple of years, but it was literally, it got to the end, it was just like it went, okay, yeah, we've run out of fuel.
Yeah.
And just stopped.
Yeah. That
was it. So that's the sort of the big things for me, television-wise, that there's been. I mean, I have got a list of things, there's upcoming shows that are starting, with UK air dates that are coming up soon. We've got The Tomorrow People, the US version of the show, which is a remake of the original series from the 70s, with the people who learn they have the ability to teleport. So that's starting on E4 on the 8th of January at 9 p.m. I've seen the first couple of episodes of it, and I have to say I'm not overly sold on it. It's very Americanized. Everyone looks absolutely gorgeous, and it's all polished, and it's just, you kind of get to a point where you're looking at it and thinking, yeah, okay, this is, when are we going to like leave, the Paramount lot and go out into the real world? But I don't know if it will or not. I mean, it's got potential, but how many things that are on American television have potential and make it past the first season?
Yeah.
We've got other things coming up. We've got a new series which is from Alfonso Cuarón and J.J. Abrams. Which is Alfonso Cuarón, if you're not aware, is the director of Gravity. and it's a new one that's it's like one of these ones where it's person traveling every week and they end up somewhere helping people, these sort of like the Incredible Hulk series, traveling from place to place. But it's about a guy who is he's wrongfully convicted of murder, and a group gets him out of prison so he can then help look after this little girl who has amazing powers.
Okay.
So it's not sure for definite when it's going to air, but Watch, the television channel Watch, has been advertising it, which means it's probably going to be in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It doesn't even have a release date yet confirmed for it's going to air in America. So I expect we'll be getting that very shortly after America gets it.
I'm sorry, what's it called?
Is that Penny Dreadful?
No, that's Believe, sorry. The name of that show is called Believe.
Okay.
And that's sort of the next big things that are coming out here. Because, you've got things like Criminal Minds. The new series of that starts on Living on the 6th at 9 p.m., January 6th at 9 p.m. You've got a new show on Channel 4 called Hostages, which the first episode of it, honestly, some of the most boring television I've ever seen. And it got a full 15 episodes that it has. The last couple of episodes of that are airing sometime in America the next week. But it doesn't look like it's going to be coming back for a second series. So whether or not it has an ending or not, when it comes to watching that in sort of 15 weeks' time on Channel 4, whether or not you're going to have an ending or you're just going to be left with a cliffhanger, I don't know. But honestly, I don't think I would make it through 15 episodes if the pilot was anything to go by.
Okay.
So there's not a lot coming up now, but also you've got later in the year, you've got Intelligence, which is the new thing with Josh Holloway from Lost. Mm-hmm. And you've got the new series of 24, Live Another Day. So, there's big things coming up this year. It's just a case of when they appear.
Right, okay. Now, I also, Andrew, I asked, and Stuart will talk to you about this as well. I asked you sort of, outside of your given areas, Stuart, you tend to focus on the video games and the movies, and Andy, you tend to sort of focus on the movies and TV shows. But I asked you not necessarily sticking to those areas, what were your sort of nerdy moments of the year? Stuart, we talked. You had said the Xbox and the PlayStation releases, the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy and Star Wars are going to be shot here in the UK, and just that Gravity has finally done 3D properly.
Yeah.
Those are your big nerdy things. Tell us a wee bit about that before we go any further.
Well, with things like Guardians of the Galaxy and Star Wars, it's just nice to see big, huge, massive movies getting shot in the UK. Mm-hmm. A lot of companies were probably a bit apprehensive as shooting their movies in the UK because we don't do tax breaks as well as countries like Canada. And so it might just have cost them a bit too much. But seeing how our actors can act, especially if the last year, in 2013, you look at some of the best films of 2013, and most of those films had British actors in it. And so the facilities that we can provide now and things like that seems to be a bit more of an interesting option for studios to shoot their films in the UK. So it's a good trend that big movies like Guardians of the Galaxy and Star Wars are getting shot in the UK, which will open the floodgates for even more bigger movies, which will add money to our economy, which will increase it even more, and so we'll get more stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair point. And TV as well, things like Game of Thrones has thrown that open as well. There's still persistent talk that the Star Wars live action TV series will be shot here in the UK. So yeah, it's just, as you say, it's great for the economy, it's great for young upcoming talent as well. It's just a really, really good thing.
Yeah.
Right, okay, Andy, yourself, we had asked you as well about what were your big nerdy moments of the year. You sent me 5.
Yeah.
In no particular order. Do you want to go through them? Let us know what floated your boat this year.
Okay, well, one I wasn't expecting, which is I'm really looking forward to Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I love the look of it. I love that it doesn't look like a comic book film. It looks like a spy, espionage, terrorist film. Mm-hmm. And then when I saw Desolation of Smaug, there was a extra preview thing before it where they showed us a sequence of the movie, which isn't always a great thing because it's rather annoying when they do that. But they showed a sequence from Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and I loved it. I'm so hyped for this film now. It's a moment where if you've seen the trailer, there's a sequence where he's in an elevator with a bunch of guys there attacking him, and it's basically that sequence they showed. and boy, does this look good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the trailer, didn't it, Saxon? I mean, the trailer was one of the things this year that really made us go, oh,
yeah, no, it was fantastic. I mean, there is the lift sequence, of course, which ends with him kicking the shield up into his hand after he's just obliterated all these guys in such a small space, easy. And then, of course, there's the bit with like the helicarriers falling out of the sky and blowing up, and you know, it looks like it's going to be one of the best movies of the year for Marvel, anyway.
It's the things like the gun that's used to fire something along the street, which then magnetically sticks to the bottom of a car and blows up. Yeah. There's just like little ideas and things like that they've definitely
like it's so simple but so effective. The scene where he chucks the shield and the Winter Soldier spins around and just catches it with his robo-arm.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, it's class. Right, okay. So you had you had 3 Marvel moments in there. What else had you?
I did, yeah. Well, surprisingly for me, because you've heard my opinions of the Wolverine, how it wasn't. I didn't think it was as great a film as it could have been. I thought it was the best version of Wolverine the character, but I thought pretty much everything else about it wasn't good. But the end tag of it, the clip at the end in the credits, was one of those moments, like I said, where your jaw just drops. And I think that's why a lot of people liked it so much. I have to say, I think a lot of people walked out of that film at the end going, that was amazing. And I think it's largely down to that end credit sequence, which I'm hesitant to say because it's a spoilerish sort of moment. And it is a setup for Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I think it's safe at this.
It is, because we've seen the trailer for Days of Future Past now, so we know who's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the fact that you see Professor X and he's alive, and it's not explained, but it's just literally the whole thing. He goes, "I told you before, you're not the only one with gifts," and literally one of those. Oh wow! And that was like the best thing about the film, which is a sad thing to say, but it was.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Because the whole time I was watching that movie, I was thinking this end sequence better be as good as people say it is.
And it is. It is. It literally is. Like I said, people walk out and they're going, "That's amazing," and I'm sure their perception of it is because of that end sequence.
Now, your third and final Marvel moment is, I have to say,
a spoiler one. Yeah,
it's very spoilerific. We're going to talk about it. I think everybody knows about it at this stage, but it would be one of my moments of the year as well. It's
our friend Trevor Slattery.
It's Trevor Slattery. It's glorious. Tell us about it, Andy.
I'm Trevor Slattery. Yeah. I mean, Ben Kingsley, first of all, wow. I mean, could you get anyone better than him to play that role?
Yeah.
No, maybe. No, I can't think of anyone. No. And then with the whole thing of the Mandarin and how he's actually portrayed, and then how you actually find out he really is. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm just trying not to swear here. So.
Yeah. No, because I remember in the cinema watching it, as you said there, my jaw literally just was like,
what?
Yeah, what? And the whole cinema was just really
floored,
just absolutely pissing themselves laughing.
Yeah.
And now, Stuart, you didn't really feel that great about it, sure you didn't?
No, I've seen it twice. Iron Man 3 twice, and I hated it more the second time. But I just found it much more tedious.
But specifically the whole Mandarin reveal.
I really like the Mandarin as a character, and I really like the way Ben Kingsley played the character. I thought that was the best thing about the entirety of the movie. Take that out, and I would have it probably would have been in my top 20 worst films of the year.
Okay.
If you took out the Mandarin character.
Yeah.
But he saved the film for me. Yeah. He made it more entertaining for me, but I was just bored.
I would like you to watch it again and see where you stand, because I watched it the first time and really liked it. The second time I watched it, I thought it was awful.
Yeah.
And I've watched it since, because I just one night there's nothing else to watch, I put it on, and I really enjoyed it. And my wife bought me for Christmas, and I've watched a bit of it, and I really enjoyed watching it again. So I think I would be interested to see, Stuart, what your take on it is if you watched it again.
Yeah, I just don't fancy watching it a third time.
Right. Okay. Leave it there.
Anyway, right, back to you, Andy.
But I love that as well. I mean, the other thing I have got one thing that is DC, and that was from Man of Steel, and it's in the trailer, which is a shame, because the thing is, it's one of those moments where, and especially seeing it on the big screen, I was just like, it was actually literally a squee moment for me.
Okay,
it was just like you just go wee, like that sort of, and loving it, and that was the mid-air punch. In the battle against Zod at the end of the film.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I know the one you're on about.
Because you never get to see. You've never all the super